So, the Avs had a third period lead and blew it again. But this one did feel different, if nothing else for the fact that they actually got a point out of the game. Avs lose to the Dallas Stars 3-2 in the shootout. Now, I know I said last video that the Avs cannot keep doing this, and they did do it again, and there are problems to assess here. But if you look at this game in a vacuum, taking 1 point against Dallas, which is a team the Avs have struggled against significantly this year, on the second half of a back-to-back, is a good result. What makes it unfortunate is the results previous to this. The game itself, I thought the Avs, honestly, were probably the better team for the majority of, just didn't quite fall their way this time. Both of McKinnon and Makar hit posts in this game. If those go in, the Avs pretty much win. To be completely fair, Dallas did hit a post as well, so there is that, but even so, the puck just wasn't quite going in for the Avs in this one. And that's a problem that we will get to, but first we have to start at the beginning of the game, and the Avs did not look good at the start. It was very, very similar to last game. The Avs were on their heels and they put themselves in a hole far too quickly. Zadorov and Nichushkin are pressuring Seguin in the neutral zone along the near boards, but they don't contain the puck. It squirts out into open ice and presents an opportunity for the Stars. Zadorov does a good job to recover. He gets back into position and steps up on the puck carrier, nullifying that danger. The problem is, again, the puck gets loose. Hard to blame Zadorov here. In a situation like that, you have to expect some help coming back. And you're going to see Nichushkin does eventually peel off to once again take the puck carrier here. That's all fine and well. You're playing that position as best as you can. Not great that they let the puck go in the neutral zone initially, but they're trying to recover. Here's the problem. Bellemare and Sam Girard behind this play, both entirely coasting. You're going to see from the point that I just left from, not a single stride is taken from either of them. That means neither end up anywhere close to Tyler Seguin when one of them really needs to be taking that away. Bellemare even almost gets there, despite not taking any steps, and Seguin just barely puts it away. You just can't have it. It's minute 1 of the game. I don't care if you're on the second half of a back-to-back. You gotta be able to hustle back into position and stop that from happening. The rest of the first is basically a carbon copy of last game. Dallas completely controls the majority of the period, especially in the first half. The Avs finally do push back a little bit in the second half. They get a power play that they can't convert, but that helps shift momentum. And then, for whatever reason, the Avs are just magical in the last minute of periods all of a sudden. If you blinked, you might have missed this part of the play. Dallas has cleared the zone with the puck going down the near boards with a lot of speed here. Graves collects it on the backhand and just flicks it back up the boards, allowing the Avs to get the jump on Dallas a little bit into this play, creating an odd man rush, where Nieto is able to go up the boards and throw a puck on net. Now, this play only works because Tyson Jost crashes hard directly to the net, so when the rebound is created, chaos is immediately caused in front. Jost is able to just whack at this, and he gets it back into a dangerous position in front of the crease, where Compher has gone. A very good synergy there of each player going exactly where they needed to go to make this play work. Some nice skill by Compher here to collect this puck, get it out and around the pad, and lift it up into the net. A good and much needed goal from a line that desperately needed to get going. The Avs need a little bit more out of JT Compher and Tyson Jost, and that is certainly a good sign in that regard. It was a good time for it too, because the Avs do not get a point in this game without them. So the Avs play another poor period but come out of it tied, and that's not the end of the world. The problem is here the expenditure of energy. Instead of scoring that goal and leading the game after the first period, which would be huge in a second game of a back-to-back situation, They had to expend all that energy just to get out tied. The second period also started out a struggle for the Avs, but it turned around a lot quicker. They took a penalty fairly early in the period, but were able to kill it, and that gave them some momentum through the rest of the period, and they would go on to outshoot Dallas 19-11 within it. This team has been incredibly strong in second periods lately. They just need to find a way to be more consistent at the start and at the end. And when you play well, good things happen, just like this goal. It's a mess of a play here as Dallas struggles to get through the neutral zone. EJ finds himself with a puck, and he tries to hit Nieto with this pass, but it's a pretty brutal pass, not even close. But it does get passed into space where Nieto can collect it. So Nieto is able to walk in, forcing the defenseman back, opening up some space before he attempts to drop it back. And this is a brutal pass as it deflects off of a stick and up into the air. And then Ian Cole just makes a great play. I did not know that Ian Cole had these kind of hops, especially after a double hip surgery. That's pretty impressive. He's able to bat the puck down, which catches Radulov by surprise, giving him a ton of space to work with. He walks in and apparently is an offensive defenseman now because Snipe City. Man, I have no idea where this offensive side of Ian Cole's game is coming from, but you take those. The Avs have gained a lead and now take the game in their own hands. They start playing with a lot of momentum. They start playing their style of game instead of the slow-paced Dallas style. That eventually leads to Dallas taking not one, but two penalties, giving the Avs 90 seconds of 5-on-3 time. The Avs fail to score on the power play. I've discussed my issues with the power play enough this season. I don't need to go into it again, just suffice that it's bad. The bigger issue here is the Avs' top guns. When you look at the Avs' past 5 games, you have the Vegas game, where the Avs' top 6 did perform well. The top line picked up 5 points. That's a solid performance. But beyond that, in this game, the Avs' entire top 6, 0 points. The next game, Minnesota, great job by Landeskog to score an individual goal, so that's good on him. McKinnon did score a goal, but it was extremely fluky. Still, not terrible. You got 2 goals out of your top 6. Going back before that, the Chicago game, just a single point. Jonas Donskoy with an assist in your top 6. And then before that, in Carolina, the Avs' 1 goal was a top 6 goal. However, almost all of these points outside of that Donskoy assist is coming from your top line. That's relying extremely heavily on those guys. That second line of Donskoy, Burakovsky, and Kadri has all but disappeared. And let's do some rough math here. The most common hockey score ends up being 3-2, maybe skewed a little bit because of empty net goals, but roughly 3-2 over the course of many, many seasons. You get there, generally, on average, by 2 goals from your top 6 and 1 goal from your bottom 6. Now, they don't have to necessarily be the goal scorers, but they are the ones that create the goals. The Avs are simply not getting enough production out of their top 6 right now. In particular, Kadri, Burakovsky, and Rantanen. Now, sometimes the points just aren't there. I can understand that to a certain extent. I think Burakovsky actually played quite well in this game against Dallas. Just had nothing to show for it. But for Kadri and Rantanen, both of them have really struggled over this last stretch, and just the Avs need more out of them because they're key players. And that's what's concerning to me. If the top line has gone a couple of games without a point, that's a lull, and not good, but something you know they can overcome. When that second line has not scored very well over the past 10 games, honestly, that's a bigger issue. And because of that inability to come up with a big goal, they let teams hang around when they get a lead, and then they end up losing games. That's exactly what's happening right now. One more shout out to the power play and special teams, though, because that is what ultimately made the difference in this game. The Avs did not score on a power play. At the end of the second period, they give one to Dallas, and in the third period, Dallas converts it. Kind of a nothing play off the face-off here. Klingberg feeds Guryanov in some open space, who just winds up and blasts one, and it just happens to hit off of Ian Cole's stick and go directly in. This is another situation where you got to trust your goaltender a little bit here. Grubauer had played extremely well in this game. Let him see a shot. Let him make a save. I think he makes this one, but the deflection makes that impossible. So the Avs throw away the lead almost immediately in the third period, and then they did still push back. They had the better chances throughout the third period, but they don't get anything to show for it. And the process is great, but at a certain point, you have to get the result. Right now would be a great time for the Avs to start getting results. Still, off the back of some quality Grubauer play and the Avs locking things down a bit in the last 5 minutes, they do manage to get a point. And Dallas honestly played for a single point here as well, but a point is a welcome sight for the Avs. Overtime was pretty brutal all the way around. The Avs got maybe 1 or 2 rust chances in the first half of it, but Dallas controlled 75 to 80% of the time. Very passive, not even wanting to take a shot, just holding on to the puck. That eventually leads the Avs to taking a penalty, which they managed to survive purely off the back of Philip Grubauer making some incredible saves. So, the Avs have made it to a shootout off of mostly Philip Grubauer and the defense playing solidly enough. It was the offense that came up short this time. And the same can be said of the shootout to a certain extent. Dallas went first and scored. Avs would miss with their next 2 shooters, and then Dallas's third shooter would put the game away. Avs just struggling to put the puck in the net a little bit. But between getting a point and the way the process looked in this game, I don't have anything major to scream about. It's not panic time. Grubauer looked fantastic. A lot of the defensive issues were cleaned up, even if you did have that slow start a bit. Offense comes and goes to a certain extent. I understand that. I'm okay with it, especially with that 3-headed monster line or whatever iteration of it they're throwing out there. The McKinnon, Rantanen, and Landeskog's, I have some faith in that we'll figure it out and get it picked back up. The Kadris, the Burakovskis, the Donskoys. This lull is starting to get a little bit too long. They need to figure it out. If it takes switching up some lines, do what you gotta do, but get them back on track. That is the end of this game video review. Thank you for watching, and head on over to the DNVR to check out some of our premium content. I am Rudo, and I don't know. This team is extremely good. 50 points, only 4 other teams in the league have that. Yes, even with a bit of a slide here, they're still one of the top teams in the league.
Avalanche time, come on, grab your friends. We're going to the playoffs again with Nate the Dog and Gabe.